How you doing today? Josh Poet with you here. First Contact Radio. Let's jump into our dream spell date for today. Today is a red overtone serpent. Red overtone serpent. Color red is the color of initiation. The overtone is tone number 5. It's called the overtone of radiance. The symbol for today is the serpent. The serpent is all about life force. And the guide for today is the Skywalker, which is all about the power of space. On the Gregorian calendar, it is Thursday, September 15th, 2011. So yesterday on the show, we talked about Elenin a good deal, and we're going to continue to do the same thing today because we are in that window of time when Elenin has now crossed the ecliptic and will be passing in front of the sun in the course of the next two and a half weeks. So we want to pay attention on what's going on. There's been a lot of speculation on what's going to happen, what isn't going to happen, and so on and so forth. So we want to check all that out. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to start things off with another video from Mr. Comet Watch, who's been keeping good information about what's happening with Elenin. So we're going to listen to this, and a little bit later in the show we're going to do a little bit more Elenin, and I'm also going to get into part 1 of an interview with Stephen Bassett. So stay tuned for all of that. Let's jump into first part of Elenin right now, and Mr. Comet Watch. Here we go.
Yeah, September 5th, 2011. I want to do an earthquake update. Overnight, we had about 4 major 6s. One of them is in an unusual place. I'm going to point this one out first. It's a 6.0. It's off the southern coast of Cuba. It's in a trench. It's hard to see here. It's on the Google Maps. You can see it quite well. I'm going to go to that next. But the Grand Cayman Trench extends in this direction, across, over, touches here, one of the cracks catches this eastern side of the Ring of Fire. The other one goes, let me back this map out, extends eastward until it touches what's called the Atlantic Ridge, right there. So this quake, what it does is represent pressure between the Ring of Fire and this Atlantic Ridge area. Right across here, I'm going to back our map out. Bring this up to make sure we're right in our 6s. Back our dates up. And that's what we got, guys, on our 6s. We got the one here. That's the newest one in the Cayman Trench at Cuba. Down off the coast of Australia. Right here at Japan. And another one up here at Alaska. We had one there yesterday also, guys. So what I want to do is go over to our Google Maps and point out a couple things. Now, come around here. This is the quake off of Cuba right there. We'll pull it up. Notice this trench. That's called the Cayman Trench. This is Grand Cayman Island. Pull this back. This trench extends all the way across this part of the globe. Right down through here. Right off El Salvador, it hits this part of the crack that's part of the Eastern Ring of Fire. Back up a little more. If you can see these lines of the cracks, guys, you come right across here into the Atlantic Ridge. This goes up to the North Atlantic, over into Europe, and this way up towards the northern poles. Pretty good ridge here, guys. You can zoom this up. This is a pretty smooth crack. You've got the little jags, but you've got long periods of a straight line. And then as you hit this crack here, you see that jag there. It goes down pretty smooth. Sudden jolt both ways. Extends this way, extends left, right into this trench, what I call the Cayman Trench. So my point being here, again, is your Ring of Fire is lighting up. Still moving in this direction. Now, yesterday we talked about this area, California, being up next. Now we had some pretty good 4s in there that helped with some of that pressure. It was going around. But what we're noticing is that as this pressure builds up, it's affecting the entire globe. Of course, the Ring of Fire is probably a third of the Earth's surface that it encompasses all together. So when you've got that much pressure, you're going to have a lot of stuff going on. Elenin's getting closer. You're going to have to watch these quakes. I want to point out one other thing while we're here. This is just a short video. We're going to do some updates on it. But as we back this magnitude from a 6 back down to a 5 and then into your 4s here, you'll see how this area here started waking up yesterday. These are just 4.1s. I do have reports people are feeling these quakes. They don't look that big when you compare them to a 6. They go down to this 4. The shock rings here do encompass quite a bit of area. Now, I know that California is used to this type of activity. It's still, if you live in there, that it kind of shake you a little bit. Look at this big boy over here off the Cuba. Now, I'll point out another thing that has happened a couple days ago. Now, I live in the southeastern United States. I've been here over 50 years. Something that I've never seen happen before is as you go down here, and I know these are small quakes. It's going to be hard to see on this map. I'm going to go down here. This is a 3.0 in Alabama. Now, I've told you before, I just live 100 miles off the Gulf Coast up in this direction here. We don't have these kind of quakes right there, guys, in this part of the United States. It's very rare. I think in 1916, there was the largest quake to ever hit Alabama. That's a long time ago. Hit right here in this area. Back this back out. So it's not just that the ring of fire is lighting up and you've got some big quakes going around, guys. We're having unusual quakes. Texas, Washington, those type in the Virginia area up through Canada there that it rings through. It's just things aren't quite right, guys. This is a quick update. We're gonna look at this a little closer. I do want to mention that we're starting to get a lot of charts and information in that we can't post on all our videos. So we're doing a website called www.mrcometwatch.com. It's up now. It's not finished. We're going to be adding charts from earthquake charts to astronomical charts, things like that. And we're going to put a lot of links on the web pages, guys, where you can go there, click, and look at and see where we're getting a lot of information. Again, the site's not finished. There is a very interesting speech that we posted, a video of Obama on 9/11 at one of the big speeches up there they had, and it's an apocalyptic speech if I've ever heard it. I guess it was one of his last ones he wants to get into before they head to Denver. But anyway, just a quick heads up, check out the website. We appreciate you guys. Yeah, September 5th, 2011.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Government should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is Josh Poet. This is the UFO News for today. All right, we have several reports. A strange one of an object that flew across the sky and was witnessed over several states, Arizona, California being two of them. So let's look for this here. It says here, we'll start off with the Phoenix report. Says here that many residents around Arizona have reported seeing a glowing object flying across the sky Wednesday. Some experts believe it was either a fireball or a bright meteor. We started getting reports of the object around 7:45 p.m. Our media journalist, Brian McEthan, captured two photos which he saw a glowing orange light before an object started streaking across the sky. One photo shows the glowing object looked in a chandelier. The other image was taken as McEllen kept the shutter open to show the object streaking across the sky. It had a big old tail, and it was so bright I couldn't believe what I was witnessing, Valley resident Holly Pickard told ABC 15. Law enforcement in the Valley also saw the object. We received 4 calls total regarding the light in the sky. A Phoenix policewoman spokesperson told ABC 15. Our air unit, myself and other officers also observed it as well. We all made our wishes and went back to work. A spokeswoman with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office said that their aviation unit did confirm seeing the meteor over Deer Valley Airport, but there haven't been any reports of an impact site. Many of our viewers also sounding off about the ABC 15 Facebook page. Sharon Roche wrote, "It was huge and incredible. We were driving and too much in shock." Althea Keegan wrote, "It had a green tail and it burned out just as my camera ready to snap a picture." The ABC 15 newsroom confirmed there have been similar reports in San Diego, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas. All right, now this came to us out of Arizona. However, right next door here in Los Angeles, they had the same type of deal. Residents in and around the Southland reported seeing a series of strange lights up in the sky Wednesday night. Viewers described shooting lights with many colors and even a tail. First reports came from Riverside County around 7 p.m. Wednesday. Within half an hour, several Orange County residents also reported seeing the lights. About half an hour later, reports were coming in from all over the West. Most of the lights were blue and green. A few described the lights as yellow or orange. CBS 2 and KCAL 9 first received emails and phone calls from Marietta, Paris, Irvine, Ontario, Riverside, Lake Forest, Corona, and San Clemente. Additionally, police report that they received many calls about the lights. And, alright, I'm going to move from here. Let's jump over here. This is a picture of what some people were seeing. This is the first picture of the spectacular re-entry of Jules Verne, the automated transport vehicle that fell from orbit today at 8:31 Eastern Time, taken from a DC-8. It shows the moment in which it starts to break apart at 9:43 a.m. just before falling into the Pacific Ocean. I'm not sure if this is the same object, but it did come up in a search for the same images. Let's go over here because this is latest UFO sightings.net. It says reports of UFO activity on Wednesday the 14th, September 2011 are coming in from 3 states. If you also experience any strange activity, report it using this form. So let's go check out this one. This is what people were seeing.
Our breaking news continues on KCAL 9 News at 10. A mysterious burning object lights up the night sky in Southern California. It appears to fall to Earth, but what was it?
Yeah, people from the coast to the OC to the Inland Empire, the mountains, the deserts, and all the way to Vegas and Phoenix saw this thing. Our Dave Bryan is live in the newsroom with the very latest. Dave, what are people saying?
Well, Sharon, there's still no confirmation what that object was, but as we first reported at the top of the newscast, Vandenberg Air Force Base told us the mystery object was not a satellite falling to Earth or any kind of space junk. Whatever it was, many people saw it, including these viewers from Glendora.
I'm recording it. Helicopters don't fly that way. Nothing flies that way, guys. I got it on tape.
Not that fast. We've heard tonight from viewers who watched that object streak across the sky in Murrieta, Paris, Irvine, Ontario, Riverside, Lake Forest, Corona, and San Clemente. The Federal Aviation Administration and the CHP saw it too. They contacted the National Weather Service, and so did we. We talked live with Kurt Kaplan of the agency's Oxnard office earlier on KCAL 9.
And it really does sound like, from all the reports coming in, that it probably was an isolated type of meteor. I witnessed, not this one, but years ago, where they do change colors through the sky, and they're a little slower than an actual shooting star. So it sounds like that's what we're dealing with here.
Well, whatever we're dealing with, it certainly got everyone's attention, and our newsroom's been flooded with emails from witnesses who saw that object streaking across the night sky. People describing it as a bright light. Some say it looked like a falling star. Others say it looked like a red comet with a green light around it. Thanks to everyone who wrote us on a night like this. We appreciate you very much.
All right, and we got one more report here. And we'll keep you informed about what's going on with that one as we find out. This one came in from Florida, so let's check out this one. This one here, you could see, this is kind of a strange, different one. This is one of those, I don't even know what you would call this. It's, I don't know, it's like a dancing object in the sky. It's not really a circle. Sometimes it is a circle. At other times it looks like it's some sort of, I don't know, worm or DNA type of object that seems to be moving about. I'm not quite certain if this is real, where it's from, other than from Florida. Doesn't say anything more here. Palm Coast, latest sighting from Palm Coast, Florida. Alright. So there you have it. That is short and brief. That's our UFO news report for today. I'm going to jump away for moment here for a song, and I'll be back, and we shall continue on. Here we go. I'll be back.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Bases that are secrets here. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? Plausible deniability. That's their answer to all we think we see. So pay attention. Read between the lines. Changes are happening, revealing lies. And if you ask our leaders today, This is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? Underground is where they live. In the bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lies? I can neither confirm or deny. They can neither confirm or deny. It's time for them, confirm or deny. No more secret lies. I don't know about you, but I can't stand it anymore. I know what I saw. You know what you saw. Stand up for yourself. Think for yourself. The truth is out there. No more lies. No more lies. No more lies.
All right. Wouldn't that be nice if there was no more lies? What do you think it would take? Oh, it would take truth, right? A lot of people standing up to the truth, but as long as we tolerate the lies are going to continue to happen. All right, moving right along here. We're going to continue on with Elenin for just a bit more. And this is Richard Hoagland. Now, he's been out there talking about it, and this is a clip from him when he was on Coast to Coast the other night talking about what's going on with it. So let's listen in what he has to say.
Something's going on at NASA. It's a weird story. The NASA administrator, Charles Bolden, talked to personnel last week about preparedness. But to be prepared for what?
There are some clues. When you listen to it carefully, there were three things that kind of leaped out at me. The first was his very strange reference to personnel off-planet. Why didn't you just say the guys and gals in the space station? Do we have NASA personnel other places in the solar system?
Good question.
Was that a hint to a secret aspect? It's a very curious phraseology, and by looking at this, when you see the video, of course, the visual is an important part of the story. His body language, I mean, you obviously watched it. What did you think of his body language?
I thought the whole thing was weird.
Well, there's a context. I mean, we've gone through a hell of a spring. You know, there have been horrible tornadoes in Alabama, in Joplin, Missouri. There have been, the problem of Fukushima, the threat of radiation. We've now got, Fort Calhoun, which is kind of teetering on the edge of we don't know what because no one's telling us really anything. We are living in a very uncertain world and uncertain time. But he made specific reference that it was part of something called COG, C-O-G, continuity of government. Now, continuity of government is what you do in case you've got World War III, all-out thermonuclear exchange with somebody, or an asteroid takes out the entire western United States or eastern. In other words, it's not something trivial. It is to keep the government at some level functioning in secure locations where they can come up to the surface or back on the air after the dust has settled, maybe literally, and try to reestablish the United States of America. This is not trivial. And then, of course, it's against the backdrop of this whole incredibly weird business going on the net around Comet Elenin.
And that again gets back to Bolden's very careful use of language, not terrorists. He talked about outside threats. This object, regardless of all the stories going around, is unique. Nothing like this has happened in our lifetime, astronomically. And there are major clues inside NASA which we have been able to ferret out, that the guys in NASA know something that they're not sharing about this object with the public. Remember how he talked about to get prepared for emergencies like 9/11, and then he talked about outside threats? He didn't say terrorism. He said outside threat. Words are important. Words convey specific meaning, particularly if you're talking to the NASA family that already has some inkling as to what you're talking about. So specific phraseology and specific words will trigger the briefings they've had that we're not privy to, but the coded language is meant to communicate the big picture. Outside threats. I think we're in for an extraordinarily intriguing fall. I mean, there were a couple other things that kind of leaped out of his message. The specific reference to hets. When was the last time, George?
Never.
Why is the head of NASA going out of his way to single out hets to be taken care of? George, this has a extraordinarily weird feeling.
Okay, look at the Earth distance, 1.812. Helios right now getting nearer to us by 300,000 miles per day. In about a week, that number is going to be 400,000 miles per day, and it's going to continue to increase. You're going to see more and more volcanoes going off. That's your sign to wake people up. You have 33 volcanoes erupting right now in the Earth, and that number is going to continue to go up as we move along in the timeline.
A column of smoke in southern Chile, reaching 6 miles into the sky and 3 miles wide. Ash falling on the surrounding countryside and neighboring Argentina.
Scientists say a new vent has opened at the Kilauea volcano in Hawaii, sending lava shooting as high as 65 feet into the air. It happened when part of the crater floor collapsed. And our meteorologist, Jackie Jarris, is here with more on what's happening. This thing has been erupting for a long time, but this is new.
Right. This is a new fissure, basically, or a new eruption, a ring of fire that has developed in the area.
And you know, we keep calling it a comet, George. I don't think it's a comet. I mean, the numbers I lay out during the conference show me to an odds of millions to ones. This thing is under some kind of intelligent direction, and I know how that sounds.
Oh, no.
I would not make that statement if I couldn't support it with the numbers. And it's also the professionals are saying, oh, it's so dim, no one's even going to see it. Look, if this thing is being directed here by someone for some reason, and we could have a lot of fun discussing potential, scenarios, then as it gets closer to the Earth, August, September, it could erupt into the most spectacular object in the night sky close to the sun inside the orbit of Mercury, because it's going to be closest on September 11th, and just that day alone should raise real eyebrows about the odds of that happening by chance.
Tagline FBI CIA alert. Update June 2011. The following information was taken from Cosmos Online. A chilling report prepared for President Medvedev by Minister Sergei Yukov of the Russian Defense Ministry regarding the building of an additional 5,000 underground bomb shelters in Moscow. The defense minister warns, even though progress is being made, the appearance of the new comet Elenin in our solar system means additional resources will have to be added immediately, as the 2012 timeline for completion may not be soon enough. Sparking fears, Minister Sergei Yukov says in this report, quote, based upon the new orbit calculations for comet Elenin, it appears in all likelihood that this celestial object is under some type of intelligent control and will approach Earth much closer than originally thought this coming fall season. An interesting note about the comet Elenin is that the American Space Agency NASA has stated, quote, because of the possibility that the comet's orbit does slightly deviate, there is no guarantee that the Earth will be missed, Comet Elenin was discovered by scientist Leonid Elenin on December 10, 2010. Comet Elenin was traveling very near the ecliptic plane at more than 4 astronomical units from the Sun and was headed inbound towards Earth. Its original point in orbit where it's nearest to the Sun was calculated to occur well inside Earth's orbit at about 0.45 astronomical units or 42 million miles from the Sun. This was to occur on or about the 5th of September 2011. Making it visible to the naked eye in the pre-dawn skies in the constellation of Leo. Most ominous in the minister's report is his assertion that the comet Elenin appears to be in direct contact with the mysterious Jupiter-sized planet discovered beyond the orbit of Pluto, which also is headed inbound towards our Sun. End of Cosmos Online information. These reports may spark increased hopes and beliefs in the possibility that the intelligence controlling these monumental events are none other than Almighty God and the foretold kingdom of Christ predicted in the Bible. Millions believe the true names for these upcoming events are the Great Tribulation and Armageddon. Regardless of what one believes, buckle up and be wise and not deceived. We are certainly in for epic earth and government-shattering events of biblical proportion.
The immediate impact would be of a gigantic...
Alright, there you go. So that kind of brings you up to speed a little bit now. As we know from the report last week, at the point when they thought it was going to speed up, because remember in there he said it was coming like 330 miles, 1,000 miles, million miles, 1,000 miles, and now it was going to speed up. Well, it slowed down. So that's kind of strange, and it's not something that they expected. So we're going to keep our eyes on that because we are getting closer, and that 2011 date, or the September 11th date, it moved back to the 14th. So things just really crossed the ecliptic at that point. Now as we're moving forward, the next timeline we're looking for was going to be the 25th, 26th, and 27th of September. But now everything's kind of been pushed back a couple of days because the object did slow down, and that puts us around, would be like, what, 27th, 28th, and 29th, so towards the end of this month. Interestingly enough, if we go over here, Obama ordered to Denver bunker on September 27th, so let's check this out for a moment. Said he was ordered. Alright, most interesting indeed. Obama ordered to the bunker. Now, why would you think that is? Is there something? Apparently somebody is concerned about something going on out there. That's why this activity is taking place. Now, is this real, or is this some sort of a smokescreen? Well, that we're going to have to wait and find out. But let's take a quick look over here and see what's going on with HAARP. And as you can see, it is not quiet. It is active even today. So either something is playing on the atmosphere from outside, or there is something that we are directing outward from inside, and either way, something is taking place along the magnetosphere, and we can see here from the magnetometer out of University of Alaska's HAARP induction magnetometer here, you could see that something is taking place. So we're going to all keep our eye on that because I know we're all curious to find out exactly what's going on and what's going to happen. Now, our space weather tells us here today that The wind has slowed down. We're only at 455 kilometers per second as far as the solar wind goes. And there really isn't much of a chance here, 5% chance of some sort of geomagnetic storm today. Higher altitudes 10%, but let's jump up here and let's take a look at here. It says yesterday on the 14th, an eruption near sunspot 1289 hurled a CME in the direction of Earth. Analysts at the Goddard Space Weather Lab expect the cloud to deliver a glancing blow to our planet's magnetic field on September 17th, sometime around 4:30 Universal Time. High-latitude magnetic storms are possible when CMEs arrive. All right, so the plot thickens. So we got comets, we got sun, solar flares, we got UFOs, we got all sorts of activities coming out from the outer reaches of space to down here on the Earth. So we're going to have to really pay attention, see what's going on, but we're all going to live through it, and we're all going to experience something quite interesting. So at the very least, get your camcorders, get your video recorders and your devices all ready, because there might be quite a light show, and you might be able to capture something quite unique and fascinating indeed. All right. Now, what I want to jump to at this point in time is I want to jump to part of an interview. And it's a two-part interview. On the 30th of August, I had a conversation with Stephen Bassett. I had meant to play it sooner than this, but things just got a little bogged down here, so I wasn't able to get to it. But we're going to get to it today. And it's a two-parter. Just to refresh your memory or to let you know who he is, Stephen Bassett is a leading advocate for ending the 64-year government-imposed truth embargo regarding an extraterrestrial presence engaging the human race. He's the executive director of the Paradigm Research Group and the Political Action Committee, XPAC. That's X-PPAC, and the executive producer of X Conference. His work has been extensively covered by national and international media. Over the past 3 years, he has spoken to audiences all over the world about the implications of formal disclosure. So here is part one of the interview, and part two will be tomorrow. So enjoy. I'll be back. So, well, welcome to First Contact, Stephen. Thanks for being back. It's been a while since we talked.
It has been. You've got a great name. Great name for your show.
Well, thanks. So right off the bat, Stephen, what is the disclosure movement all about?
What it is an advocacy movement which is now spreading around the world. Mm-hmm. There are a number of leaders, a number of people that are up in the forefront. It is essentially the next phase after the era of ufology, which really did its job well from 1950 through, well, the present. But by the end of the Cold War, I mean, ufology had certainly proven that the ET presence is real.
Right.
And knew quite a bit about it. But the government, of course, had no interest in that. It didn't matter what proof was presented. The government's policy was that this issue could not be acknowledged. So we have basically what amounts to a political problem, which is why exopolitics and why the disclosure movement was necessary. Without a policy change on the part of the United States government, we're not going anywhere. So that's what's been happening since '91. Not that there wasn't some political engagement prior to that. There was. But the last hearings held in the United States Congress, there were just two, one in '66 and one in '68. So that's 43 years since we've had a hearing in the U.S. Congress on the most important issue in the world. And since then, who knows how many millions of sightings have taken place. So you can see the disconnection between what should be happening and what is happening. And the advocacy movement is determined to resolve this disconnection. And there is really only one way to do that. The nations of the world have got to acknowledge the ET presence to their citizens, probably starting with one nation, probably starting with the United States, though as every year goes by, the prospects of another nation going first grow.
Mm-hmm. It seems like it. It seems like there's a lot of stuff going on in Russia and Siberia lately. You know, are you finding that to be, or? Well,
China, without question. China is, a lot of people don't realize that China has substantial number of insiders that are researching this subject, PhDs, high-level people. They've also do not discourage UFO groups or private research at all. And then recently, I a marked change occurred when reports that were UFO events would take place in China, and accounts of these were getting out to the press. Now, what I mean by that, getting outside of China to the English language press, some of which are sort of connected to the Chinese language press. But in any event, these things are getting out, and the Communist Party doesn't have to do that if it doesn't want to. It doesn't want those stories out. And so essentially, boy, there have been a lot of them, a lot of sightings, a lot of events around their airports, all of which is going to serve to raise the consciousness of the Chinese people, and there's over 1 billion of them, last I checked, about this issue. Now, I can't imagine that happening without China maybe having potentially some plans here, that it's going to engage this issue at a higher level very soon. So that's a big deal.
Oh yeah,
it's a huge deal. If China were to be the first nation to end the truth embargo and the ET presence. And Russia, well, a lot of stuff is known about Russia. I mean, Russia and the Soviet Union have engaged this issue. There's been a lot of research there. The leading researcher in the world is Paul Stonehill. He's done more than enough to show that a lot's going on there. He's not the only one, though. Other researchers have gone to Russia. They've talked to military people there and pilots. Russia is not, by and large, suppressing this issue. They are not acknowledging the ET presence, but they're not sending any military people or astronauts that talk about it to Siberia or anything like that. And Putin clearly has demonstrated that he expects Russia to become again a major world power, a muscular, highly important, influential power. And believe me, they're capable of doing it because they have very little debt, massive resources, and a modest population. Their population, I think, has dropped substantially because a lot of people moved out of Russia after the Cold War ended. I think they got about 144 million people in a nation much bigger than ours. Oh, wow. So if Russia desires to become a major world power, it can certainly do so. And so the idea that Putin, who is looking to run, I think, again, to become the president of Russia, in other words, take Medvedev's job, the idea that he might step forward and say, okay, Russia will be the nation that announces the ET presence is certainly something that cannot be ruled out. And so what we have here is a developing disclosure race. Space race, arms race, disclosure race. As we know, the space race, we declared that and went to the moon 7 years. The arms race, we ended up building something like 35,000 nuclear warheads and spending many trillions of dollars. So when nations get into a race, believe me, things can speed up very quickly. And so I think since year 2000, we've been in a disclosure race between about 9 or 10 countries, any one of which could disclose tomorrow. And once that happens, I do not see how the truth embargo can, barring some hugely cataclysmic or very awful event taking place, I don't see how the truth embargo can last much longer because one of these nations is going to grab the brass ring. The disconnect here between what is going on in the world and what the government policies is absurd, and it's very upsetting. It's irritating people by the millions. It's helping to create huge distrust in government because people realize the government's lying about this. And if the government will lie about something this important, they'll lie about anything.
Right. So
what's the real truth about anything? They lie about war. They lie about peace. They lie about the economy. They lie about extraterrestrials. And so does anybody wonder that recently the Congress's approval rating dropped to 11%?
Right.
That approval in government is dropping profoundly. This is not healthy. I mean, we got 7 billion people in the world, 200 plus nations, and if the social contracts start to get shredded and people stop believing in their government or trusting their government anymore, I can assure you very, very bad things are going to happen.
What are your thoughts about the way the media is covering the UFO subject?
I don't think anybody has studied the media on this issue more than I have. Now, I said media. I'm talking about news media, not Hollywood. Robbie Graham, Paul Davids, Rob Simone have studied Hollywood much more than I am. But in terms of the news media coverage, nobody. On my website, paradigmresearchgroup.org, there is a section called the Media Archive, and you can find there now 5,400 articles that you can access via the web, most of which are in the last 6 years, but articles going all the way back to 1947. And the fact is that the number of articles in the mainstream media, English language, let's just take English language, since the 40s It's hard to estimate, but I'm sure it's in excess of 25,000.
Okay.
And when you go back to the 50s and 60s, there was 50s and well, most of the 50s, there were some pretty strong articles back then. This was before the truth embargo started to solidify.
Okay.
And then over through the years, there has been coverage, but there's also been a lot of ridicule and a lot of stupid coverage and what have you. This is the truth embargo operating. And most importantly, there hasn't been the appropriate level of coverage. You know, there's the United States declares war in Iraq, and all the newspapers in the country made it a page 10 story. Everybody would go, what? You know, that's not appropriate coverage. That's a front page, big headline story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that disconnect between appropriate and inappropriate coverage. And anybody that wants to say that the presence of extraterrestrials engaging the planet Earth is a page 10 story, I'm willing to listen to their arguments, but I doubt I'm going to be very impressed.
Right.
And so what's happened is that the part of the truth embargo, one of the key aspects of the truth embargo is not covering it, because there has been coverage and a lot of articles about this, that, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not covering it appropriately, not covering it to the degree that it would trigger or force the governments to finally acknowledge the ET presence. It's a balancing act. It's been rather well processed in a way. I mean, they've done a pretty good job by and large. Now, having said that, starting around 2000, it starts to change. 10 years after the truth embargo or the Cold War is over, with the truth embargo still in place, people around the world are starting to get really kind of irritated, and other governments are losing patience. And of course, the first major break in the truth embargo coalition, I guess you could say, was France, when they allowed a very significant group of people in a non-governmental organization called the Committee Committee, put out the Committee Report, late 1999, which was like a blockbuster, but it was directed mostly at the U.S. President and the Congress. I mean, it wasn't directed at the American people. It was published in France, in French, and it took a long time for it to really kind of get over here. But that was the first break. UK followed. Since then, tens of thousands of files have been released by France, the UK, Canada, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden, Mexico, Brazil. I mean, just one after another. So in this 10-year period, without question, and if you go to my media archive at paradigmresearchgroup.org, you can literally see this unfolding. The degree of coverage, the amount of coverage, the amount of ridicule has decreased, the amount of coverage has gone up. A few more stories in major papers, the odd consensus editorial. And really, if you were to look through these articles, I think maybe 1 in 100 is what I would call a ridicule piece. Okay. Maybe 2 tops. Now, obviously, when the ridicule piece turns up, everybody focuses on that, and they go, "Oh, look at that! They're making fun of the issue. The press are all idiots." That's not totally fair. You got to look at the whole picture. Look at all the articles across many English language press around the world. And what you see is generally they are starting to cover this. Now, for whatever reason, no editor of any major paper has made the decision, okay, enough is enough. We're really going to cover this, right? This is a major issue, profound, transcendent in its implications, and we're going to cover this big time. We're putting 10 reporters on it. We're going to talk to Hillary Clinton. We're going to talk to Leon Panetta, John Podesta. We're going to interview members of the Air Force that have come forward. We're going to look deeply to the nuclear events that have taken place where ETs have interfered with our nuclear weapons. And that would be it. But they won't do it. They still can't quite pull that trigger. Each one has their own reason for that. The truth embargo has been in place for a long time. It has a substantial amount of institutional presence now. They don't need to send out emails every week or so to the editor saying, "Don't remember, you can't touch this subject, or you can't get really serious." It just sort of has its own momentum, but it's only a matter of time before a major news outlet is going to say that's it. And it won't take long for the truth embargo to collapse under the pressure of a significant news investigative effort.
So, well, welcome to First Contact, Stephen. Thanks for... All right, well, that's part 1 of the interview. Part 2 will be tomorrow. Thanks to Stephen for taking the time to talk with us. So, as you can tell from this show and other shows, there's always something interesting going on. I think that if we look to the skies, we'll be seeing some things that maybe we hadn't necessarily thought we would be seeing down here, or maybe that we did think we would be seeing down here. There's a lot of different thoughts, from people who believe wholeheartedly in everything that's going to go on, to the people who are complete skeptics, to those who feel certain that they know exactly what's going to take place, and everything in between. So there's a lot of thought, a lot of ideas, a lot of food for conversation, and that's a good place to start. Because when we talk about these things, we're able to figure them out, what's really going on. Just think about any times where you've been in school and you've been in sessions and groups discussing things. Those are always good moments where you're able to really collectively figure out things much quicker, because you've got a lot of minds working on it. With the internet, that brings a great opportunity to bring minds from all across the planet to think about particular issues and find out how we need to address them and solve the problems at hand. So many interesting things going on definitely this month, and we'll find out what's going to go on with Elenin over the next couple weeks, right? All right, so next order of business, let's jump on into our meditation for today. Close things out. So go ahead and close your eyes. All right, what I want you to do right now is I want you to imagine that you are standing in the middle of the planet Earth, and your arms and legs are sticking out. The Earth is your body. And as your body, you feel that there's a responsibility to take care of it, to nurture it, to make sure it stays healthy. So go ahead and just feel around on the earth that is your body at this moment. Feel around to those places that need some healing, and send some healing down to those places. Imagine that if you really understood and accepted the earth as your body, how we would all take care of this. How we would take care of the earth that takes care of us. And now imagine yourself walking upon the planet, walking along a path on the earth, looking up in the sky at the birds. There's a river running alongside the path. The grass is green. And as you continue to walk along, I want you to imagine that you are activating all of your chakras. Starting with the chakra at the bottom of the spine, the color is red. So draw the energy up from the earth into that red color chakra. Now raise the energy up from the bottom of the spine to the chakra above it, which is right at the belly button, and imagine the color orange. This is the chakra that deals with your emotional body. From there, go ahead and raise the energy up to the chakra above it. And that is the solar plexus, just below the rib cage. Imagine the color yellow. This is the chakra that deals with your intellectual body. Raise the energy up higher to the heart. And there imagine the color green. The green heart chakra. Imagine green. This is your center of love. And from there, send the energy up higher to the throat chakra. Imagine the color blue. And then from the throat chakra, send the energy up to the third eye. Imagine the color violet. The third eye is right between the two eyebrows. This is how you see through dimensions of space and time, through the third eye. And then raise the energy up to the crown chakra. That's the top of your head. And imagine the color indigo, which is like a light purple. And then as the light continues up into the sky, becomes bright white and connects with the cosmos. And you are connected above and you are connected below energetically. You are the earth and you are the sky, and all things in between. Now imagine through your body all of this multicolored energy flowing through, overflowing. And as it overflows and you see that line of light around your body that's overflowing from the inside out, you're recognizing your spiritual armor that's part of the spacesuit that you're wearing at this very moment. You can practice turning this on at any point in time. The more you practice, the better you'll be able to be at activating your spiritual armor. Now, I want you to extend this auric field of armor out from where you are at this moment, out into this room that you are in. And then extend it out from the room to the entire house or home or apartment that you are in. And from there, out into your city, into your state, to the country, and across the sea to all of the other countries. Imagine this protection going all around the planet, joining with the protection from everybody else who's doing the same thing at this moment. And send that line of protection down into the earth to help protect the earth from all of the rumblings and grumblings that are going on. And then send that protection up above the planet, as a protection from all of those things that come from the outside in. Imagine solar flares being reflected off of this protective field. Imagine any asteroids or comets or any near-Earth objects that come near the planet. Imagine them bouncing and being deflected off of the planet. And imagine everything underneath that protection here on the earth, living in peace, harmony. And now from your heart chakra, I want you to imagine sending out love. Send it all around the planet, right from where you are in all directions. Send this love out. And just imagine everybody around the world accepting this love. And imagine yourself feeling the love being sent to you from everywhere all around the planet. And last but not least, let's just think a good thought for everybody in the world today. We want to send good vibes into the world, so let's send good wishes out to everybody, that we go out and we have a good day today, that we become stronger, that we become smarter, that we learn to live in the light of truth, and learn to understand the lies that we must move away from. Now, with all of these thoughts in mind, let's bring our energy and attention back to the present moment, and let's do so on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. And that, my friends, well, that is the end of our meditation. That is the end of the show for today. We've got a lot of information. You can find all this and all the stories we talked about at our website, firstcontactradio.com. They'll be on the right-hand side under the links UFO News and Daily News. We keep you updated on everything that we report each and every day. Tomorrow we'll be back with more news and information, and we're going to do the second part of this interview with Stephen Bassett. Until then, you go out there and be safe. Have a great day, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Peace. I'm out of here.